Alrighty, folks, welcome in. We're gonna get started this evening, working this helium voxel again. And apparently, I'm going to take on the challenge of researching and starting my own gas giant hunt, which is going to be the helium gas giants. So, wish me luck on that madness. Starting back on the overtime list is going to make that an interesting life decision, to say the least. I'm sitting on a high-gravity planet because it seemed like a good place to park. But I've done that system. So let's grab the next one from EDJP. Got an awful lot of these to go through still. I am at 70 systems out of 174, so 104 to go. And that is a tall order. I know some of us are crazier than others and would do that in a day. I ain't one of them. It'll probably take me a couple of days. And I'm probably not going to dive into this helium gas giant research real heavy until at least after DW3 is over. Because I feel like now I'm going to have to go visit all of them. There's not a lot of information out there. So I'm going to have to actually go collect the information firsthand, which is going to mean visiting all of them and making spreadsheets and... Oh, what did I sign myself up for? Fun. That's what I signed myself up for. Fun and autism. And I'm okay with all of it. But welcome in. And glad you guys want to hang out for the evening. We're just going to do some chill exploration. Ah, crap. I meant to buy some arcs. So I was going to do something. That's okay, I can wait. I have an idea. I'm not going to say what it is yet. But know that there is an idea in my head coming soon to a screen near you. And tonight is my last night as a free man. Effective tomorrow, I am back on the overtime list. Probably staring down the better part of 60-hour work weeks. It's going to be disgusting. And we'll see how long I last. The trick is you can get on the overtime list anytime you want. But you can get off the list anytime you want. But to get on it, you have to wait for the beginning of a quarter. So you kind of have to decide, have I caught things up? Do I have enough savings? Do I want to get off the overtime list, and can I survive? Because, like everywhere else in the world, the post office is no different. They pay you just enough to get by. Rob, welcome in. Glad to be of help, getting your sea legs back on. I am also considering, as I'm getting more into being a fuel rat, among other things, we provide the fuel rats. We provide rescue service on everything. So we do PC Odyssey, we do PC Horizons, which is easy enough. You back out to the launcher and switch, and all of your ships and everything is the same. It's all available. You're just in Horizons and can't land on planets. We also do Legacy and Xbox, PlayStation, whatever. I'm not going to get into those because, one, I don't have the hardware, and if I did, I'd still have to pay extra for live service, and I'm not doing that. What I can do, though, since I have two accounts, is set one up on each one. I can have two Legacy commanders also. So I can have a bubble-based Legacy rat, and I can have another one in, say, SAG-A, staged for long-distance rescues. I don't know how popular they are. I mean, I honestly don't know who all's still playing Legacy. I know a call comes in every once in a while. But, if going through setting that up, because I'm sure it'll essentially be a new commander experience, only a new Legacy commander experience. But if that would be of interest, let me know. I'd be happy to stream while I'm, kind of getting a new commander on its feet. Welcome in, Trank. If it's any consolation, I won't be streaming forever tonight. I've got a hard bedtime of 11:30 because if I'm going to go in and haul 18 miles of mail on foot tomorrow, I've got to sleep tonight. I can't be up till 1 o'clock in the morning like I normally am. So, which back to the stream schedule. I've kind of figured out how I'm going to handle this. We are going to do Sunday streams as planned. I'm probably going to go live a little later or a little earlier than I have been. So maybe 1 o'clock, 5 o'clock, somewhere in there. So it'll be earlier in the day. That's great for you guys in the EU that want to watch. It puts it at a more acceptable hour for you. For everybody else, hopefully it's in between activities if you're a church kind of person and you get up in the morning and do that, or if not, you can sleep in and still catch me, that sort of thing. And what I will do, because my days off rotate and it's going to be near impossible to, schedule without going in and constantly updating my YouTube page, I'm just going to say at the end of each stream when the next one's going to be, because it's going to be every Sunday plus some random weekday. Well, it's not random. There's very much a system. You know what? I will show you the system, because it's not exactly secret knowledge. Just let me get over to where I'm going. Show me the calendar. So, postal employees use a color-coded calendar, and every route has its own color. My route's color is yellow. So, yellow days are my days off. I get all Sundays, all yellow days, and all holidays. Now, I may lose a yellow day, not ever a Sunday, but I may lose a yellow day on one side or the other of a holiday if that was the day we observed the holiday. But just, looking into April here, like this past weekend was my long weekend. So we're running through the week now, but I will get Sunday off and Monday off together. And then the following week it's Tuesday, so Sunday, Tuesday, and then Sunday, Wednesday. Good enough, explanation there. But rather than try to keep up with that on the stream schedule side, I'm literally just going to, say at the end of the stream, hey, I'll see you guys on Tuesday or whatever the case is. In this case, this will probably be the last stream this week until Sunday. Which is good, because it's going to give me a little bit of time to maybe get started on the Helium Giant research. I'm not sure how I'm going to go about this. It's a very vague idea in my head. But the longer it lives in my head, the more I want to do it. Especially now that a very cursory search has shown me that there's just not a lot out there. Because, so many things in Elite have been beat to death. And honestly, the idea of kind of being the first to do something is, aside from getting a first discovery or something, that's exciting. Yeah, Rob, you wouldn't think there's much life on PlayStation, but brother, let me tell you, last night I was sitting here. I didn't play much, honestly. I just sat here and watched the rat chat. And it seems we had like 6 calls last night, and they were all PlayStation except for like one of them. It was wild. And I feel like part of the reason for that is actually PC players' fault. Because I'm sure players that aren't thinking will jump on an Aura and try to search for a station where they think they can get fuel, and then find that it's a colonized system that's been reported to an Aura that they can't access and doesn't exist for them. So they jump into an empty system and maybe it doesn't have a fuel star, or they don't have a scoop and they were planning on hitting a station. We do seem to get a lot of PlayStation calls. I thought PlayStation was completely dead until I joined the Fuel Rats. Now, Xbox, we don't get a lot of calls for. But PlayStation, we do seem to get a few. I would love to know what the statistics are, honestly. I'm sure somebody has them. I would be kind of surprised if we didn't track and publish that somewhere. Oh, short day tomorrow. Yeah, that's good news. My day tomorrow will not be a short one. It will be the first of my many long ones, in all likelihood. And I'm not super excited about it. I am excited for the opportunities the overtime funding will provide. One of them is 100% going to be a VKB throttle, because I've had it up to here with my X56. And it's many, many gremlins. It constantly untargets things, ships, systems, resources, you name it. It dumps my heat sinks out into the black. I had to unbind silent running mode because it cooked me alive at least twice before I finally said, no, your silent running privileges are revoked. Hey, double tap. Welcome in. Glad to see you. Glad to see everybody. And for anybody who missed the YouTube post, Delta is, in fact, good. He's got a cold. I missed it and DM'd him because I was waiting on the stream to start, and it never posted. And I went looking, and didn't find one. I don't know if it was just delayed and not showing up for me, or what was going on. But I sent him a DM. You good, homie? Because, he's really good about putting notice out if he's going to miss a stream or something. I just completely missed it. We had a little bit of a laugh about it today. It was good times. And if you're in the squad or in the Discord, say hi to Neo Blue. He's a player that's been hanging around since before I was part of the group. And he's coming back from a year hiatus, so welcome him back to the Discord, that kind of thing. I feel like I'm more than a little rusty here. Which I shouldn't be. I was kind of lazy scanning last night. Oh, do I care enough about the money? What do you guys think? Do you think I should... And I'm good either way. So let's just throw a little poll up here. There we go. I'm trying to remember. He kind of ducked out about the same time I did, Trank, in terms of kind of taking a hiatus. I think he and I both kind of stepped away at the same time. Yeah, Rob, that's the way to do it. I bought the X56. I had the option of the 56 or the 52 when I bought it, and I liked the idea of the 56 because it had more possible button mappings. So that's what I went with. And come to find out, the X52 is like the legendary HOTAS to have because it's just bulletproof, it's cheap, and it works really well for Elite. And of course, I had to buy the fancy smancy shit, so I'm paying for my own mistake. Have been for a while. The stick is great. I love the stick. It's got a variety of spring tensions that you can insert on your own. Looks like everyone says to hell with those plants. I'll let it keep going for a while here and see if that changes. But yeah, it's on my On my list of things to do is to swap out both with VKB alternatives. They're way better built. They're a higher quality product. And honestly, when I bought these, I wasn't sure how hard Elite was going to stick in my game world. And now that I know, it's probably worth the roughly $300 you have to put into getting both of them. Works as well as ever. Oh, yeah. That's true. I wouldn't mind having sim-grade sticks. I think that would be a lot of fun. I think it would be expensive as hell. I think it would be way overkill for the game. And honestly, I don't know how well it would work for the game. Depending on, the model and the setup, I guess. But at the end of the day, that is what it is, right? It's a game. I will say, I also enjoy American Truck Simulator and Euro Truck Simulator. And they just, fairly recently, somebody put out like an 18 or 17 inch steering wheel and button box with an actual it's like an Eaton Fuller style shift knob with both actuators on it, so you can do all the splits and the range splitting. I built one. It's in storage right now, but I bought like a cheap Eaton Fuller shift knob and drilled it out and used a small USB joystick controller that you can get off Amazon. It's just 10 generic inputs, and I wired it up so that I could flip ranges and split gears, so I could have a realistic 18-speed shifting experience, as realistic as you're going to get in a video game, with that caveat. I have shifted a 13-speed dump truck. I understand there are vast differences in the way it works in the real world and the way it works in a game. But, I mean, there's a line between fun and work, right? I wouldn't want to do that consistently and call it fun. It's, for one, I'm not very good at it. Non-synchro mesh transmissions are not my friend. But I suspect even if I were, I don't know. When you know how to do something... I see OBS is going to bless me with the random disconnects and reconnects. I needed that in my life, let me tell you. What did I miss? It's gotta be a gas giant. It is a gas giant, but not the one I want. I will grind, but I will not grind at arcanic level insanity. I will at the very least fully FSS everything I touch. May not go deeper than that. Actually, I probably will still go map water worlds. And I've already found 2 water giants in the system. So I guess I should be keeping an eye out for water giants with water-based life. Which is apparently a potential thing that I just wasn't aware of. But, I'll take potential. I would love to find something new and cool. I am having a good time doing this, though. And I discovered the other day that I'm showing up finally on ED Astro. I'm not sure exactly which box it is. So if you look at Formorian Frontier here, and you kind of draw an imaginary line down through here, keep that in mind, ever so briefly. Oh, I need to turn the sectors off. That's a mess. There we go. So, if you look at the ED interactive map now, and we come into Formorian Frontier, and draw our little line down, you'll see that we had bookmarks over here. I'm just to the left of that line. And if you look just to the left of that line, you'll see we've got a couple of voxels. I'm not really sure exactly which one it is. Let's see, okay, the indexed is a little cleaner. I think it's this one. I'm pretty sure it's that one. That might be a little high. It might be that one. One of these. One of these slowly becoming more defined with days going on. Squares is my voxel that I'm doing. And the traffic is starting to show up. And that just makes me giggle. I had... OBS, can you just get it together here, friend? Well, I guess we're just gonna grind it. Did I scan that whole system? I think I did. I'm gonna say I did. What gives? Journal processor. Had I already selected? Oh. I'm a dumbass. I targeted it, but I hadn't jumped yet.
Frameshift drive charging.
So yeah, I guess we'll learn more about helium voxels and helium gas giants as we go. I'm gonna laugh really hard if I bump into a green gas giant on my way to finding more about helium giants. That'll make me giggle. I'll have to 3D print a gas giant and mail it to Arcanic as a consolation prize. That would actually not be that hard to do. I do have some hardened nozzles. I could do like some glow-in-the-dark filament. That would be fun. Then it becomes a question of size. How big? Should I do like keyring size? Like something, you know, maybe bouncy ball size, or like one of those big honkin' heavy-duty bouncy balls? I'll have to give that a think. Getting the color change right will be kind of hard. It'll be two-tone at best. I mean, I could do 3, but at that point I'm probably wasting an awful lot of filament. And I don't have a material handler, so I would be switching colors by hand, which takes longer and is harder on layer-to-layer adhesion. So really I wouldn't want to do more than 2, even for something decorative, because there's just you really up your failure chance. I'll have to think about that. I've been looking for something to 3D print to get back into it. I actually have a project. I need to... The pads underneath my desk clamps for my stick and throttle have completely gone. They were those thin foam pads they give you so that they don't mar up your desk surface. And these are just absolutely shot. So what I'm going to do, I've got a spool of TPU flexible filament in storage. I need to get a hold of it and get one of my printers back up and running. And I'm going to print some little TPU sleeves to go over the top of the clamp that sits on the tabletop. Should alleviate that. Captain! Welcome in, sir. What's pretty cool, Trey? I don't know if TPU is the shit so much as TPU is a pain in the ass. Even with direct drive extrusion. Well, I can't say that. I've printed some stuff. When I was moving, I actually printed a shitload of cable ties. They were so easy to make, I could not do it. And I had all my electrical stuff very neatly bundled up. Oh yeah, it'll have to sit in the dryer for a minute. It's been in storage. It's an open spool. It's been in storage in outdoor, non-temperature controlled storage in a Ziploc bag for like 3 months. It's probably going to have to sit in the filament dryer for a day or two just to make sure, because I know water and TPU ain't friends. Water in any 3D filament ain't friends, but TPU's on the list of fussier choices. Yeah, I'll bet it would. Oh, yeah. The box will show. I can't believe it showed up. I mean, with a little DMAS, I didn't think it was really a big enough voxel, and I didn't think 70 systems would generate enough traffic for it to populate that early. I always assumed when I saw those squares that people were like doing the children voxels below too. And maybe they are. Maybe mine's not there and I just see somebody else's work and think it's mine. Cannot confirm. But I'm going to choose to believe in my heart that that's my little helium voxel showing up. I'm trying to think. I don't have any neoprene. Do I? I might have a pair of neoprene socks I could use for that. I hate to even consider, like, cutting them up for that, though. Because I actually use those in the winter for work. Because a lot of times, you know, if you're a mailman and you're out in the snow, once your feet are wet, they're wet. There's no going back. So I usually try to wear, you know, if we got snow that's ass deep to a tall Indian around, I try to wear some neoprene socks on underneath my other socks. That way, you know, if something happens or I get snow down a boot, I'm not wet and cold and miserable. I'm just one of them. But I'm willing to bet the TPU will do what I want it to do. It's not going to be a hard model to draw. I should be able to measure it up fairly easily. This is what I got to deal with here. See, I've got the skid pad's kind of dead, so I just need to go in and CAD out basically a little, you know, a sleeved slide over that's, you know, maybe a mil thick or a half mil thick on the bottom, and it could be, honestly, it could be a lot thinner on the top. But just something that won't slide around on there, and I mean, if it's printed in, it'll be in good shape. I've got to... I screwed up and took the clamp off. Everyone knows you don't do that. Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, up where you are, I'm sure that makes more sense, Rob. I imagine it's pretty standard fare up there, especially if you're, you know, coastal. For the exact same reasons that I wear neoprene socks in the winter. Oh, 3 out of 3. We're done here. It's been a trait since I rolled out of bed this morning, honestly. That's fine, though. I know what it is. It's the stress of knowing that I'm back on overtime. And it's not that I mind working overtime. I'm actually one of those people that can happily work 65 hours a week, and as long as, you know, I'm being well compensated for it, I don't mind. But I'm really into Elite right now, and taking time out of Elite to go work more hours is not what I want to do. But it is something that needs to be done. So I'm gonna bite the bullet and do it. I did adjust audio levels a little bit. How does it sound out there? Because I notice a lot of times when I'm done, I'll put my own VOD on while I'm going to bed and leave it play on a sleep timer just so I can kind of monitor the audio levels and, you know, hear how things went, if I had any skipping because of disconnects and stuff like that. I don't usually listen to the whole thing. I'll put like 30 minutes on, and that kind of gives me an idea. But I did notice last time that when I put it on to play, I had to alter the volume levels quite drastically from where I had them set for other streams I was watching. So I brought everything up. You may have had to turn me down compared to what you're used to. Or you may have finally said, oh, thank God I can hear him. I'm sure which. I would like to believe that I would have heard about problems, but I had folks let me talk for 3 hours with an echo in my mic. Which I did solve. Hey, that was pretty. Oh, yeah. That's nice. Nice pink one there, bud. Don't ask me why I went north of the border. Couldn't tell you. Ah. That's what I like to hear. I like good audio. Thanks, Trank. Oh. So I don't know really where to start with this helium research. Alrighty, Trank. We'll catch you later. I'm sure I'll catch you in Discord. And if there's any life left in me whatsoever tomorrow when I get out of work, I'm sure I'll... At some point, I will probably stop what I'm doing and move Astrid. I need to do some prep work to make that easier. Because she's in the bubble right now, and I think it would probably be beneficial to stage her on the squad carrier. And make sure my Panther Clipper's there. Because I've been running around in the bubble doing stuff. Mostly stuff related to bathwater. Because I've been desperately trying to get prismatics for my Kestrel. And I've made it. I think it's like I'm 2/3 of the way there. It's rank 34 I need, I think, to unlock them. But I want to say I'm like in the teens, high teens. I can't remember. I have barely spent any time jumping to the next system, apparently.
Frameshift drive charging.
I've barely spent any time playing my alt. I also updated Observatory Core and got the Astroanalytica plugin, which is new for me, and it kind of shows you some of the orbital oddities and stuff that you run into, as well as biologies. It's just kind of a catch-all plugin. I've really been liking that, and Explorer. I'm also running a custom trigger file now. Well, it's not a custom one. I got it from Arcanic's Discord. But it alerts on more things and more interesting things than I had it set to. So I haven't mucked about with it. I'm not sure what all the options are. I'm sure it's just a text config file with stuff commented out. So eventually I will probably get in there with Notepad++ and see what's in the middle and if there's anything I want to change. But for right now, I'm just running it in the configuration I found it in, and I'm pretty happy with it. So you may notice down in the bottom there, below me, some of the pop-ups may have changed. You may be seeing new ones you're not used to seeing. And that was me, changing things on the back. Don't ever grow a mustache. I've got one hair. It's just curling up and just tickling just the tip of my nose. Bane of my existence. I don't know why it just won't just grow straight and hang out. I've never had curly hair in my life, but you have a mustache and all of a sudden you've got curly hair. Don't you worry about it. And I can't not have a mustache. I look ridiculous without facial hair. I tried it once. We're never going back to that. Ever. If I look down and in the end of my days and somebody has shaved me and put me in a casket, I will haunt them. Just leave that beard where it's at. Wow. 6 whole systems in 37 minutes. That is, that's breakneck pace for me. Pretty sure Arcanic does about 6 systems every 6 minutes. I'm just not that fast. I probably could be if I had the desire to be. Forgot to target. That's helpful. But I don't. You know, I kind of like to smell the roses and just meander about. Which is probably for the better with the task coming up at hand here, because when you know what to look for, it's easier to do it faster. But if you're looking for what you need to look for, if that makes sense, if you're trying to suss out what the parameters of your search should actually be, that's different. And I know Arcanic, he did give me some advice pertaining to star classes. I don't remember. I'm sure he'll drop in after his stream's over. He usually ties up a little bit before I will. Hopefully I'll remember to ask him again. But he did mention 2 or 3 star classes specifically. And they're all scoopable classes. I'm pretty sure he was talking cooler stars. But, you know, it makes good sense in my head that a helium-rich voxel would be a good place to find a helium gas giant. But that's not always the way Elite works. That might just make a little too much sense for Elite. But we'll see. There's, I can't remember, I think he said there's 18 known, but only, like, 4 of them were proc gen or something. I can't remember. It intrigued me enough, though, that I wanted to know more. The fact that there are any that are procedurally generated suggests that there may in fact be a bunch that are procedurally generated. But the fact that we've only found 18 or 20 of them, or however many we found, you know, green gas giants, we've got 63 known green gas giants. And those are essentially completely random, by and large, so you would think those being a bug would be less common than helium giants, but it's not working out that way. Body was at B1. Surface temperature of 1107. Huh. Is that even landable? It is landable, holy shit. Oh, there's a small part of me that does want to check that out. I'm not going to, though. It's just hot. It's not fancy enough. It's also not what I'm... Well, you know, I was going to say it's not what I'm looking for, but do I know what I'm looking for? I don't feel like I do. Right this minute. I feel like right this minute I'm just running a helium voxel to see what I find. I will say I have found all of the things you would expect to find in a helium voxel. I found helium-rich gas giants. I have found at least 6 or 8 examples of crystalline shards in this voxel. Admittedly, all in like the first 10 systems. I haven't seen another one since. A high number of ringed landable bodies. A lot of wide rings, a lot of high inclination orbits. It has been host to a lot of fun things, and I've really been enjoying that. And a lot of... because I've been exploring for a bit, but in a very different way. Like, I've always been looking for visually pleasing things, or just, you know, things that look cool in a screenshot. But sometimes these things we find that are mentally fascinating, you know, on an intellectual scale, because the game does a pretty good job with a lot of things in terms of matching them up to the way, you know, physics and and the systems work and gravity and orbits and all that. So sometimes you'll see something that's almost more of an intellectual find that's just cool to witness and see. And that, I feel like that is the era of exploration I'm entering now. I've kind of run through the, oh look, a black hole in a video game phase. And now I'm more looking at, I can't believe they modeled that, that's cool. Which I think's a great place to be, right? I mean, that's what separates the boys from the men. I mean, just the system here. We've got
System scan complete.
a ringed landable with no atmosphere, another ringed landable with atmosphere, landable with thin ammonia. Two of those. Two more ringed landables. A1, no, A1 and A2 are both ringed and landable with no atmosphere. We've got some lethal surface temperatures. B1 is close proximity to a star. It's like 8 light seconds from the star. So, in terms of configuration and stuff, the helium voxels absolutely pay off. Which is fun, because I've never... And, you look at the map, it's not super impressive, but at the same time, it kind of is. I feel bad, because I don't always look through information in the vanilla way anymore. I hardly ever go to look at this panel. And I know when I first started exploring, this, gal map was my bread and butter, because I didn't know any better. I didn't know about third-party tools, or use them effectively, for that matter. And it's not that you can't do anything I'm doing here without third-party tools, because you can do all of it without third-party tools. It's just a matter of speed and efficiency. If I weren't using third-party tools, one, I would have to memorize a lot more parameters, and two, once I FSS'd, I'd have to come in and look at every body and go, is there, what's the stats here? What's going on? Whereas the third-party tools just flag it and go, hey, B1's got some cool shit, go look at it. And admittedly, that's kind of lazy, but when you're looking for something like in Arcanic's case, the Green Gas Giant, and he's been through 200,000 systems and hasn't found one yet. Volume is the friend, not necessarily quality. Quantity is definitely the way to go. But, you'd spend more time looking in the ore review, you'd spend more time looking at stuff in the map, and that would be the way you did the research instead of using third-party tools. So it's possible. Just not my cup of tea. Not how I lose my cup holder, apparently. I had a customer gave me a 3D printed coaster. And he's an older guy. He doesn't know that I 3D print. So it was all cool to him. He's like, can you believe they printed this? And I'm nodding my head. And I didn't have the heart to tell him. I'm just going to print him something and drop it off. He's a good old guy, though. He takes pretty good care of me. Always has a cold water on deck in the garage fridge for me and stuff like that, so... Good dude. But he went up to a gun show and got me a Glock-themed 3D printed coaster. I'm not a Glock guy. I actually don't like them at all. But never turn it down. It probably cost him $1. See? You can absolutely honk in the FSS scanner. It is a separate binding, though. And I think that was the confusion we were having earlier. If you came over from Arcanic Stream, you know what I'm talking about. If you didn't, we were having some discourse FSS mode. And if you bound it, it's a lot easier. And that is under ship controls. So you set the discovery scanner with your fire groups. But if you look under FSS scanner, discovery scan is also a separate thing. In this case, I've got it bound to the same key I would use to fire it off as a weapon, which is how most of us do it. But by just doubling up the keybind, I don't have to hunt and peck or worry about a second key. If I forgot and I go into FSS and it says you haven't scanned it yet, I can just hold down my button and honk, as it were. Alrighty. System number 77. What time is it? 9:45. So I've got some time. Ideally, honestly, it would be really cool to get to System 100. I don't know if I'm going to. That's a lot of scanning and moving for me, but I'm willing to give it a shot. And see what we bump into. I have found 2 water giants in the system. And those are not super common. Well, not system, in the voxel. So out of 78 visited systems in a pretty specifically targeted area, 2 of them have included a water giant, which is not super great odds.
Fuel scooping.
In fact, voxel stats will tell me exactly what the odds are. If I stretch it out here, yeah, water giants, 1 in 39.5.
Complete.
I wonder why helium giants and green gas giants are not in voxel stats. I feel like that's a missed opportunity. I realize how incredibly uncommon they are. I don't know if that came through the stream or not. It shouldn't have, because I'm capturing the elite audio directly. But, that was a rat alert. Let's go... Okay, it's in the bubble. I always try to check, even if I don't... Like, if it was somebody out here right by me and I was the closest person, I would have dropped what I was doing to go get him, but... Well, I would have dropped what I was doing to plot and call jumps on it. Whether or not I got dispatched on it's up to the dispatcher. And as I haven't drilled yet and I'm still a rattling, that's really kind of their discretion. I will say, if the difference were like me doing it in 5 jumps and somebody else needing 50 jumps, it's pretty good odds they'd let me take a crack at it. Unless it was a super weird code red or something, or somebody was on emergency O2, then they might legitimately, even if it's 50 jumps and an hour wait, they might wait on somebody with a little more practiced hand come in, and I'm fine with that. At the end of the day, it's not a thing about doing it to be prideful. It's just doing it to help out other players, and if I'm not the best, ooh, that's purdy. I like that one. At the end of the day, if I'm not the best equipped person to help that other player, then by all means, whoever is should be the one to step up and do it. We all learn different things at different paces. And I know a fair bit about Elite, but I'm in the rat world, I'm a new guy. And that's okay too. But that fellow was in the bubble. There's lots of rats available for him. In fact, I'm watching it, and he seems to be getting one of our best. So I've got full faith he's well taken care of. "52 bodies. That is the other thing I've noticed. Helium-rich voxels seem to have an awful lot of bodies. I've had some like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12s. But in the 70-odd systems I've done, I've had way more 30, 40, 50s. Not like super high, but a lot of consistently middle high, if that makes sense. A lot of 30s, 40s, and 50s. Okay, I'm gonna have to close that. Because every time they chat, I look down to read it. And I'm not on the rescue, it doesn't matter. I don't need to read that. I got what I came for. Oh, sorry, guys. It was a long day. Now, it seems I've got a couple yawns in me. Hey, crystalline shards. We are going to go look at that. I know we were trying to burn systems, but I am still looking for a crystalline shard with polonium. Because I desperately need some polonium. And the only other one I know of, personally, is clear up in the like middle of the abyss. And I don't want to go all the way up there to find it. Or fly all the way up there just to mine this one material that admittedly I could easily trade for. But if I stumble into one out here and it's quick and easy enough to mine, I'm absolutely going to do some of that. Also trying to figure out how I can tie in researching Helium Giants with streaming, because it's going to be a lot of data crunching and a lot of speculation until I confirm. I guess the way I do it is I come up with ideas and we try to confirm or disprove them on stream is probably the best way to do that. Because otherwise, I could do a 2-second short and just say, hey, I'm looking at this data, I think XYZ. Call it that. That would be horrible. Or bore you to death with spreadsheets, but nobody wants to stare at spreadsheets. At least not spreadsheets across YouTube that are fuzzy and you can't quite read. That would be nothing but mildly infuriating. So I think that's it. I think I will bring you guys along for the data collection, and you know, I'll make you guys aware when we get there of what information I'm recording and stuff like that. That way, if anybody wants to armchair research with me, you're more than welcome to. I think my first order of business is going to be getting together a list of known helium giants, along with their locations. And then I think I'm going to have to just start poking around. I suppose I could gather that from the codex. That's not something I'm going to do on stream, though. That would be an awful lot of bouncing around in the codex and just writing stuff down, or more likely plotting to it and copying target name and pasting it into a spreadsheet, because I think that would be faster. But that'll be the first step. And hell, some of them I may not have to go to. If I've been to the system, then I should be able to do a meaningful amount of research from that. Just by looking at the system map and, you know, what's the distance, what's the temperature, what else is in the system, what kind of star is it? Is it part of a secondary? How far is the secondary from the primary star? That kind of thing. I'm sure there's lots of data from which to make absolutely asinine conclusions until proven otherwise. Luckily, Elite's pretty good about that, because Stellar Forge, you know, is procedurally generated, then in theory it shouldn't be that hard to figure out the rules it uses to generate a specific thing. And now that I've said those famous last words, you know, how hard could it be? I guess we'll find out. I'm gonna say it's pretty hard. Because I can't be the first person to want to do this. If there are fewer of them than green gas giants, and if... because they have a codex entry, so I'm not sure... I need to talk to some people in the community. Because I need to know if they're bugged. If they are a bug. Because green gas giants are a bug. That was not an intentional thing that they wrote any lines of code for. It's just a fluke of the way the color picking system works and accidentally gets it wrong and reverts back to a default that happens to be bright neon green. Now, I get that they've changed it and kind of canonized it, but truthfully, it wasn't supposed to be. It's a bug. So I guess the first thing to determine is, are helium giants also a bugged planet state? I don't think they are. I think they're probably intentionally the way they are. 60... where am I going? Crystalline shards. Yeah, that's right. At least long enough to see what kind of material it holds. But I would assume that helium giants are, in fact, an intentional part of the game. Because they have, you know, a proper name. Where gas giants that are green gas giants, when they were being found before they had their own codex entry, they were just plain old gas giants that happened to appear, you know, neon green and pink sometimes. But helium giants actually have a name. Other than, you know, it's not like we're looking for gas giants. How do I want to explain this? I'm awful tired. It's not like with gas giants, where if you're looking for a green gas giant, any class of gas giant can be a green gas giant. And the visual appearance is enough to tell you that's what it is. With heliums, it's not like I'm looking for gas giants and only looking at their helium content to make the determination. When you scan a helium-rich gas giant, it's called a helium-rich gas giant. You know, if you come in here and you look at your system map, if I click on this, it's going to say gas giant at the top. Yeah, there we go. Class 4 gas giants. But if I were to be clicking on... there wasn't one in the system, I don't think. No, I'm still at 13. But the point is, you know, if I were FSSing, when I hit the planet, up here at the top where it gives you the little readout, it would say helium gas giant, or helium-rich gas giant. So I would suppose it does the same thing for giants. Not giants. For regular... what is happening to me? I just cannot talk tonight. I can barely think, and I'm not that tired. Physically, I'm tired. It was kind of a long day in that regard, and I didn't even do overtime today. Now I see why Arcanic stumbles over HGG so often. It's because you gotta... it's a hard thing to talk about with all the abbreviations and stuff. HGGs, that's what we're after them. Helium Gas Giants. We got them, I want them. And I assume there are some in the bubble region. Because if only some of the ones we know about are proc-gen, that would imply that the others were placed by Frontier, manually. So I should see helium gas giants in this listing. Yep. Helium rich, which is what I've found so far. and helium gas. And looks like there's only one example. Have I ever been to 52 Hercules? I have not. It's kind of a shame. But that's what we're after. Guess I could totally SCO over there. God's name am I thinking? I always forget which joystick key I've actually got bound, and I always try to hit my Super Cruise toggle instead of my boost. And it blatantly informs me that if I really want to do that, I'm going to have to press it again, because it's going to break something. For which I'm thankful for. That feature alone, you know, 2 fast exit Super Cruise, that has saved me from so many drops out of Super Cruise from ghost inputs on this X56. Another top contender for most annoying of it is when it does that and changes my fire group. Oh, that's not a long press. That might be part of the problem there. We got time. No, not general. Ship. Weapons. Let's do a long press. Long press. There we go. That should eliminate that problem. Now, as long as I remember to back up my bindings when I close out, I'll be set. Extremely aggravating, though. Because I don't always pay attention to whether I honked or not. I always squeeze the trigger to honk. It's just part of the muscle memory now. But I'll get 3 or 4 systems in before I realize I'm not hearing the sound at the same time, and then I'll look down and find that the fire group's been switched and I just wasn't paying attention. Because often I do that while I'm fuel scooping, so I'm more focused on the scoop rate and the tank level and getting the next jump lined up and stuff like that. It's amazing how you can just completely miss that the audio cue wasn't present at all. At least I can. Maybe that's not an everybody problem. Come on, crystalline shards. Give me some polonium. I already know you're down there. And that was way overkill. Is there geology down there too? There is. There is. So I guess I should make sure I've got the right filter. Oh wow. They're everywhere, it says. I like that. Where's the sunlight? This side. So let's go this side. And what's the gravity? 0.16, not bad. Not too shabby. I think part of the frazzledness I'm going through right now is just the speed I'm going at. So I'm not used to that. I would love for there to be a button to deactivate Super Cruise, and I understand why there isn't.
Orbital flight engaged.
Because if there were, you could conceivably write a script to essentially automate travel altogether. And I'm certain that's why there is no keybind for engage Super Cruise Assist. But I wish there was. At least one to deactivate it, because I do a lot of planet landing. And if they're more than 1,000 or so light seconds, I'm going to use Super Cruise Assist every time to get there. That's my time to take a drink or talk to Chad or go, take a leak, whatever I gotta do. But then I get to the planet and I inevitably will forget to switch it off, and it keeps trying to jerk me into orbit while I'm trying to enter the atmosphere. Those two things don't jive very well. I don't see crystalline shards. I guess I do. There's one. Alright, I know, because I've tried this in the past, that I can't target the resources with the Caspian. So I'm going to do a little science and see if I can do it with the fighter. I would suspect no, it should be the same rules, because it is a ship. That was exceedingly loud in my ears. Now I've lost track of where the crystal was. Apparently all of them. I had like 3 or 4 in view. Okay, okay. I was gonna say, I knew I had a bunch here. That wasn't quite what I meant. Start with that. Yttrium, not polonium. Unfortunate. Well, at least with the fighter, there's a way around that. I can shoot it off and then target the material. What am I doing? I need to dock. We'll get there eventually.
We're looking good for fighter recovery. Let's put it back in the bay, Commander.
Well, Wilford, maybe you should be driving this thing. You sound much more alert and with it than I am, brother. What are you smoking? I say is he's the one level with the planet, not me. Go figure. That's what I get for talking trash. Alright. Well, not what I wanted. It'll work. If you're in need of yttrium. I am not. Although I did notice I've used some, so that must be... I'm guessing it's an injection material. Yeah, it's for premiums. Looks like I've used 6. Have I really used 6 premium injections? I mean, I guess I did use a couple on that rescue. Needlessly, I might add. I was not the one who got to the guy. But that's okay.
3, 2, 1, engage.
As long as one of us that were dispatched made it to him and he got the fuel, that's what matters. Well, that does it for this system. No sense in flying back in. There were some bios. Nothing terribly valuable, so I'm definitely not going to worry about it. Let's see what system number 80 holds. Oh, that's funny. It says I've visited 79 systems, but it incremented me to... Oh, because 0 is a system, that's why. This 12-0 would have technically been the first system in the voxel. It all makes sense now. So we are heading to System number 80. It's 1010. So I think we can make it to 100. That'll put me at 100 done out of 174. So realistically, I should be able to finish this voxel even with the extremely limited playtime I'll have. And then boogie on over to the science waypoint. Actually, I probably won't do the science waypoint because it's, by the time I'm headed that way, the carrier will be leaving there. So I will probably meet the DW fleet at whatever the upcoming waypoint is. I think it's 9. Is it 9? Are we headed for waypoint 9? Because I'm not sure. Let's see what the website says. I think it's waypoint 9. It doesn't tell me the title, it just tells me the system. Thank you, Distant Worlds website, for that blinding realization and technical data. I'm not digging through Discord. I'm fairly certain it's waypoint 9, because I think 8 was 8%. In fact, the longer I think about it, the more my confirmation bias kicks in. Now, if I run into a bunch of 32 body systems, I may not make the 100. It's a bit of a tall order. I was considering some absolute lunacy today, above and beyond hunting for helium gas giants. And I was thinking about it, because I didn't know who to ask if there were a record for such a thing. But I was wondering what the record is for a galaxy circumnavigation. Like, what's the fastest somebody's done it? And then I thought about it, and I'm like, well, with a Caspian, you could probably do it in 24 hours if you burned real hard. But that's a fairly recent development, and I'm not sure anybody's got a desire or had the thought to go do that. Plenty of people have circumnavigated, but, you know, over the course of a year or two, why would anybody in their right or not right mind want to go out and... Gosh, I don't even know what that distance would be. I'm curious. I'm sure somebody out there knows. Oh, what is with the yawns? It's not like there's somebody here that is yawning in front of me, making me yawn. And I actually went to bed at a decent hour last night. Yeah, I slept pretty good. But it is kind of late. Unfortunately, that condition is not going to improve over the next 2 weeks as I get used to working these kind of hours again. That is true. It is, in fact, suppressing a scream for coffee. I just wish it would do it less frequently. Oh, good grief. I'm trying to stream here. I think it's annoying to me because I've made the conscious decision. I have a cutoff time in my head. Like, I have a plan here, body. Just let me execute it. I don't need your subconscious input. And I do understand that some of it is because I'm talking. And unlike singing, where you are rapidly inhaling and exhaling more than you do when you talk, it does not improve your oxygenation. Talking actually reduces it. Because you're holding on to a breath as you form sentences and things. If you're speaking thoughtfully, anyways. I suppose if you're just running at the jib, then it doesn't matter as much. Unlike in singing, where in a perfect world, you have a set of lyrics and a phrasing that's pre-planned, and you often get better oxygenation that way. What is Max? What is it? I'm curious. See what the old watch says. There's the... No, stop it. Show me the apps. Something I never do on here. I gotta find the one that I'm looking for. There it is. Stand here while it decides to take 30 seconds. You're out of your mind. I realize you're not a medical instrument, but come on now. Surely we can do better than that in 2026. Oh, yeah. 95. Not great. It's just gonna have to wait on the coffee. That's a morning thing. Not that it's super stimulating to me. I'm one of those people, I can take a cup of coffee to bed with me and still sleep just fine. And I've pretty much always been that way. Caffeine never really wound me up. Well, maybe it does. I'm certain the stimulatory effect on the body is not changed. I think it just seems like it doesn't wind me up because I'm ADHD, and I'm unfortunately on the end of the spectrum where stimulants are the thing that brings the world back into chaos, from chaos back into order. Now stop that. Those damn joystick gremlins. So in all likelihood, when I've, all of my life I've thought, caffeine doesn't do that to me. I'm sure it is stimulating and probably not great for going to bed and sleeping. It just doesn't seem that way. I have never been either. I do come from a long family line on my dad's side of soldiers. And I did have a significant interest in being one. I scored like a 92 on the ASVAB in high school, and our ROTC program would not leave me alone after that. But I was led to believe that because of my ADHD diagnosis and the medication I was on at the time that I wouldn't be able to get in. Only to learn years later, after I'd, moved on to other prospects, so to speak, that you can get a waiver for damn near anything, and I could have got in and had a great career there. So I was pretty salty about that. For many reasons, not the least of which is I'm literally the only male on my dad's side of the family who's not been in the military. Yeah, I'm the same way, Rob. Arcanic, welcome in. How'd the rest of the stream go? Did I miss the gas giant finally?
Frameshift drive charging.
I've been cruising through. I've done about 10 or 15 systems since I got started here. I am not going to finish this voxel in one night. I'm not nearly at your devilish speed. And for anybody who is not familiar or doesn't already watch him, you need to go check out Arcanic. Dude's forgotten more about Elite Dangerous than I'll ever learn. And since he is the green gas daddy, I have given him the link command of GGG. Which it appears didn't go through. Oh, I don't have Streamlabs open. That would be why. That helps. Why don't I have Streamlabs open is the better question. I thought I left the dashboard pinned. Wherefore art thou? Streamlabs dashboard. Let's try that again. Oh, no, it did go through. Never mind. I had questions for you, but honestly, I'm so scatterbrained, I don't remember what they were. I think one of them was if you knew off the top of your head how many helium gas giants there are known. And if there's a list anywhere, I mean, it would be easy enough to come up with one, but if somebody's already got them in a list with their galactic addresses, there's no need to reinvent the wheel. No worries, Comfort Snail. We'll catch you later. I know it's late or early for you, depending on one's point of view. I would say late. Some might say early at 2 in the morning. 18, okay, so there are 18 total, and out of the 18, only 4 of them are confirmed proc-gen. Oh, sweet. Man's got a chart. Did we get confirmation from FDev that the 4 are proc-gen, or are we just assuming that based on their location? I mean, I would believe if they're not in the... Oh, you're an hour ahead even of this. I would assume if they're not in the bubble that they're not hand-placed. I mean, I'm sure there's a couple things out there in the world that are, but that would be an odd one. Hey, we got a subscriber. Who did that? I'm a terrible streamer, just so you know. I don't have all my tabs and things open, so I don't even... Alert box. Oh, of course you're not going to give me the thing. It's alright, there's more than one way to skin a cat. Streamlabs, recent events. Okay. As long as it's a reasonable assumption, I'm good with it. For lack of a better term. And that was Joe. Thanks for the sub, Joe. I appreciate it. Yeah, the star types was the other question. Unless that was... Oh, very good. That'll be helpful. Okay, yeah, I see why you... Yeah, that's pretty obvious. I'm down with that. I don't know how many... I may have visited the HR system. I have not been to 52 Hercules, though. I checked that earlier in the stream, just out of curiosity. So I guess my next step is to go visit all of these and start compiling, for lack of a better guidance direction, all the data points I can come up with. Because we don't know anything about why they generate the way they do. For all we know, the distance from the primary could be a significant factor, or the primary type, the age of this system, you know. I feel like I've got a lot of data crunching coming up. That's alright, though. I need a little side project to sink my teeth into. I don't know why I mouse over there and do that. It's significantly slower than putting my hand back on the joystick and exiting that map. I think it's just a muscle memory thing, because I've got my hand on the stick. It's time to... You know, I feel like that's the way I should finish it. Oh, thank God Delta's not here. That would have got quoted. Put my hand on the stick and finish it. Those percentages for the composition percentages are really screwy. Because they're not even...
Fuel scooping.
Like, even the hand-placed ones don't make a ton of sense.
Scooping complete.
The proc-gen ones more so. Well, except for that one. How do you get a helium gas giant out of ammonia, methane, and nitrogen? That makes no sense. Yeah. Well, you know. We gotta have a little fun every now and then. I'm not above a crass joke here and there. I guess any mod could do it. I've only got 3 mods. Trank went to bed. Delta's probably already in bed. I know he's sick, and God knows where my brother's at. He can't be bothered to show up and say hi to his dear older brother.
Frameshift drive charging.
That's what you get for making your ingrate younger brother a mod. Don't do it. Resist the urge. To be 100% fair, when he was more active streaming, I never went and watched him either. Fair enough. Fair enough, Rob. I'll give you that one. They are distinctly different categories.
Fuel scooping.
The crash joke was more for Arcanic's benefit. I guess by that logic it does. Well, there went the rat alert again. Let's see where this one is. 79 light years from Sol. Don't think I need to worry about that one. Hey, look at that. I'm honking in the FSF scanner. That is a fun way to put that. I like that. I wish it would let you zoom, and I guess it does. If I would set the incremental zoom keybinds, I guess I wouldn't have to have the spectrum in the right place to zoom into that and then move it. I still don't know where he got that you're a crass fella in that reference. I've thought many hours, believe it or not, hauling the mail, trying to figure out where... the only conclusion I could reach is that he's not really familiar with the meaning of the word. Or he was just talking and not thinking, because I can't, even on the goofiest of nights, I don't feel that would apply to your stream in the slightest. Maybe I'm just a like-minded person. Maybe I'm a touch crass myself and just don't get it. Hard to say. There it is. Oh, that's a nifty set of bands. I haven't found a single helium rich tonight. I was kind of hoping to stumble into another helium rich or a water giant. Mostly because I don't know, like, I've discovered a water giant because I found 2 in this voxel so far. But I didn't take the time to go look, and now I feel kind of silly because I've never consciously done so. So I've bumped into 2 of them and just completely, you know, forfeited the opportunity to go look at it. I suppose I could fly back and look at it, but that just seems silly.
Four,
Yeah, fair enough, Rob. In that side of the family, a lot of things. Colorful's not the right word. You know what I mean, though. You're right. It is a unique environment with a decidedly different baseline.
fuel scooping. Fuel scooping complete.
All fun though. All good times. Couldn't wish for any other family to have at my back if I needed them. No helium riches here either. I'm just waiting on those big H's, man. That's what I want. I want the big H carrots. And for anybody that doesn't get what I'm talking about, there's pointers that appear on the dial there pointing me towards the scan location. For a helium gas giant, there'll be H's instead of any form of carrot. Those carrots also tell you a little bit about what you're scanning. If they're... I'm trying to remember what the criteria is. I think it's if they're close together like that, there's no rings. Whereas if they're wider apart, as you get up next to the planet, there are rings. There's a chart somewhere that tells you. I just don't recall. Kind of like if you don't run Elite Dangerous Journal Processor, then you don't have the overlay that tells you, like if you look down here at my spectral analysis, it's got, you know, water world marked, ammonia world, such as, and then below it, it's got those indicators. If I close Journal Processor, that will go away. And you get just the default view. But it would be kind of neat if they included the key on there. Well, I've found 13 of them so far in this voxel. Helium-rich gas giants. I have not yet found a helium gas giant. That's still on the shopping list. These are the... here's the voxel stats so far. Ah. Okay, I want that to go. I want that to come back. So we're at 85 systems out of 174 so far. My helium percentage is 29.249 to 31.5. I'm just going to round it. But we found 2 water giants, 13 helium-rich gas giants, a lot of water-based life, but not a ton of ammonia-based, which I find curious. 3 ammonia worlds. Wow, that flew under my radar. I don't remember scanning a single one of those. No Earth lakes. That's not altogether uncommon, though. But that is where I stand. At least for the voxel. I would very much like to find a couple more myself, though. The ones I found, I don't know if it's like a local phenomenon, because they're all in the same voxel, so they should all be similar, but I don't know if there's something about this voxel that affects the coloration of them. But they all seem kind of meh in terms of like the surface texture. Maybe that's just me. Come on. There you go. I was really excited to find the first one, though, because it was a new codex entry for me. To my knowledge, I had never found a helium-rich gas giant until I hit this voxel. Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't been tracking the star types or the system ages. There's a lot of things I wish, and I guess I could probably get like ED Discovery fired up and use it to search the journal file, and maybe it might take some manual transferring of data. I assume system age is recorded in the journal because EDJP throws it up at the bottom there. So that would lead me to believe that it's either reading it from the journal file or it's somehow calculating it. Because if I go in, when I target this, if you look down the bottom left, you'll see the system age. So if I target and then I close this out, oh, I guess it shows when you jump. So it's telling me that's not an EDSM yet. I kind of knew that.
Frameshift drive charging.
Yeah, Ghost, I'm the same way. I was talking about that at the beginning with Rob there, because he's kind of getting back into it and getting his legs back himself. And I feel like the first era of my exploration was really kind of, looking at the pretty visual things, I guess, looking for the cool screenshots, versus now the intellectual, oh wow, they modeled that's pretty cool kind of aspect is more of what appeals to me. And even the stuff that's not,
Fuel scooping complete.
there's the system age, even the things that are not at all realistically modeled, just the quirk of how the game works, that kind of stuff intrigues me, and I wish I'd kind of gotten that bug sooner as well. Because I've done a fair bit of travel, and I feel like I've probably skimmed through I don't know how many helium-rich voxels, and just never knew to stop and look. So if I remember right, that last system was 4,000... or 4 million, or something.
Frameshift drive charging.
The point is, I think I'll remember roughly what it was if I see another equivalent number.
Four, three, two, one.
Rob, you seem to have considerably more astronomical knowledge than the average Joe. Being a pilot guy, or a hobbyist, astronomer. I hadn't really looked or paid much attention. It is mostly Rockies. I mean, I'm averaging 10 per system. Yeah. For me, it wasn't that it was accurate. It was just the sheer scale of it. I could not fathom that somebody had, even in a procedural way, kind of tried to get their head around that. I just thought that was the wildest thing. And I'm not disappointed at all. I mean, I really enjoy the implementation, even if it's not quite right all the time. Had to adjust a column there. Somewhere in my minimizing and maximizing voxel stats, it crunched up a column that I prefer to look at. So I had to figure out how to uncrunch it. Am I really that close to the limit here? 7418. I'll be damned. Yeah, screw that. Not. I was going through a whole thought process there, and it started with burn off fuel, moved on to inject your FSD, and finally arrived at just make 2 jumps, dumbass. It's quite the inner journey of enlightenment I went on there for the briefest of moments. Yeah, my first trip to Beagle Point was actually on Distant Worlds. I've been out and about, but certainly not to the scale. This neutron star I'm jumping to must be like smack in the middle of this voxel. And I'm thinking the voxel is roughly 80 light years. I can't remember if Arcanic's still here. I'm sure he can tell me. What's the side length on a D-mass voxel? I know it's 1280 for an H and 10 for an A. So 80 sounds reasonable for a D. Does Voxel Explorer tell me? It doesn't seem to. $128. Thanks, sir. But I suspect that neutron is somewhere in the middle because I frequently, whenever I need to make two jumps, I think I'm moving vertically through the voxel when I do that, because it always seems to be the middle waypoint it chooses. Even if there was a closer option, like a long jump and then a short jump, it always seems to want to do half and half with that neutron in the middle. I'll trust your judgment, man. That sounds reasonably right.
Ready to engage. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Google says 80 by 80. By 80. For a DMAS. So maybe you're thinking of an E?
Fuel scooping.
I was actually hoping for a chart when I plugged that in, and instead I got the
Fuel scooping.
AI Google generative answer. I do miss the days of it just spitting out the most optimized returns. This whole era of AI needing to tell me every damn thing is really starting to get on my nerves. As fun as it can be. I didn't play the game in that era. My first major expedition out from the bubble was in an ASP X, and I went to the Statue of Liberty Nebula. And while I was in the Statue of Liberty Nebula, just kind of screwing around, searching on my way there and back, I learned about EDSM and the expedition trackers that were on there, and discovered that there was one about to leave, and thought on a whim, oh, that sounds fun, I wonder if I can join that. So I started reading through and got in the Discord, and basically they'd left like a few days before. They were on their way to Waypoint 1. And I messaged in the group, I said, hey, is it too late to join? They're like, hell no, catch up, you're fine. So I hauled ass back to the bubble, bought a crate Phantom, swapped everything over, did a little bit more engineering, and then booked it out to Waypoint 1 and made it for the meetup, which was just an absolute blast. That is the reason I will do other small expeditions after Distant Worlds 3, and the reason why I want to do my own, host my own expedition. Because I had such a great time on that one. That's what really got Elite to stick for me. Because I'd kind of been off and on for about 2 years. I'd played it for a couple hours here and there, and it just never stuck, And then I went out on that expedition with just an absolute legend stacked cast of the OG explorers. And man, they took us to some great sites. We had a great time. We had a foot race. We had numerous SRV races, and there was only about 60 of us, so it wasn't a massive expedition. I mean, it was still fair size. 60 is not a small number of players to routinely get together every week, but it really changed the Elite experience for me. But I did all that in a Phantom with engineering, and I think when I went out on that, I was at like 70-ish light years on the Phantom. which is pretty good. It's definitely not max. Oh, 80 yeah, 128 diagonal on an 80. That might be where that came from. That sounds pretty reasonable. Well, Ghost, I'll tell you, this. How do I want to phrase this in such a way that it doesn't scare you off? DW3 is not the typical expedition experience. And I think that's precisely why I'm actually enjoying it much less than my previous expedition. Because I know on the Apollo 14 one, like I said, it was a way tighter knit group. You know, it was easy to get on in the Discord and have chats with the same people. I don't think I've not done a lot of chatting over in FleetCom, but I would almost be willing to bet it's hard to run into the same 3 or 4 people with any regularity because they're just the sheer number of participants. I mean, we've got 8,500-ish commanders out here. But you know, when it was time to like refuel somebody's carrier and stuff, it was like you had a chance to go mine. There weren't so many people that you never made it there. And we had 4 carriers out there. We had JBL's carrier. He took his out. It was kind of the official expedition carrier. And then we had 3 players bring their personal FCs along. And it was just a good time, you know. We had everything we needed. We had a great list of POIs. And it was just small. It felt cozier, if that makes any sense whatsoever. Whereas DW3 to me feels very impersonal. Yeah, I think Arcanic hit the nail on the head. Feeling like a participant and rather than just being shepherded around. Which, you know, I mean, if I... The difference is I didn't want to miss anything on Apollo 14. I flew my carrier back to the bubble ahead of our final meetup, which was in Colonia. We ended the expedition in Colonia, and then there was going to be a carrier ferry back to the bubble. And it meant enough to me to be at that last meetup that I got in a Mandalay and hauled 3 hours one way to go to the meetup and 3 hours back to my own carrier. Just to make the final meetup. And it wasn't like we were doing anything special. It was literally just the expedition members gathering in the bar in Jock Station, and we sat and we hung out in Discord and text chat. Got a group photo and that kind of stuff. And it meant enough for me to be there that I was willing to spend 6 hours jumping that day. Whereas I could park right now on Distant Suns, swap to my alt account, and just wait for the day I can undock in the bubble, and I wouldn't feel the least bit bad about it. As long as I logged in to scan the, whatever the beacon is to get the decal. I don't have the same mental attachment to DW3, because I'm not as invested or involved. We had a lot of fun times. Hang on here, let me break out the screenshots. Can I do this without doxing myself? I think I can. I think I can. And honestly, my face is on the internet. Does it really matter? Let's collapse that and that. Is this the folder I want? It is. So we'll just start here. Don't mind that. That was a bunch of map mining stuff I was doing. But stuff like the Void Hearts here. I had never seen this. I had no idea what they were. And just because I happened to be sitting in chat with one of the... it was a Darklighter, Commander Logan Darklighter. And he was like, hey, there's this cool thing nearby. You want to go see? And there's like 3 or 4 of us. And we were like, hell yeah, let's pile on. And I don't know that these exist anywhere else in the galaxy. This might be the only example. I'm not sure. But it was just one of those cool things, I wouldn't have gotten out of DW3 for sure. Not a chance. But, you know, we had cool waypoints, stuff like this. That's actually Logan's Mandalay. He had bought one for credits. I was flying the crate, obviously, but that was my first multi-crew experience, was checking out his Mandy, which was a lot of fun. Well, I'm planning on, and this is still very tentative, but I am planning on putting one together for the fall of this year. It's going to depend a lot on whether or not I have time to get everything together, because I kind of plan on running the overtime pretty hard through the winter, or through the summer, and it does take a fair bit of planning to get a good expedition together that's, you know, going to take you cool places, but I want to do it pretty spaced out and slow. If you've never looked at the ones that are up on EDSM, there's one that's been going for like 2 years and is still going. That's a little more pace than I want, but hey, there was the crew that made it back, so obviously not all 60 of us, but that was the ones of us that showed up at Jacques for that final meetup, and, you know, we all piled in and got a couple of good screenies. I don't have that attachment to Distant Worlds 3 whatsoever. And it kind of makes me sad. But yeah, I am low-key planning one. I'm not sure what the theme is going to be. It's probably going to be more of a research-based expedition, if I'm being perfectly honest. I might just pick a... once I've nailed down some criteria for helium-rich giants, or helium giants, I might just pick a region and go try to find one there. But it is a lot of fun. And I cannot recommend enough doing a smaller one. But, you know, that said, be happy you got Distant Worlds 3 in. I was really happy when it got announced, because that was something I've been kind of salty about. Because I wasn't playing when DW2 or DW happened. And, you know, it had been so long, I just assumed we weren't going to get another one. So I kind of accepted, you know, well, that's one of those things I'm going to hear other players talk about for years now, and I just won't have been there, and that's the case. And then DW3 came out, and I was like, oh, that sounds like fun. And now I've got a rat messaging me. Hang on. All I really caught there was the user. Oh. Not a rat. Well, it is. It's a rat, but not in rat chat. It's in Discord. Alright. That isn't urgent. Moving on. I don't know, I'm sure I'll talk about it on here, Ghost. I don't know that I'll actually post it on EDSM. I will if it start getting a lot of traction or something, like if I've got a ton of people asking, because I think they require 20 member minimum. 10 participants minimum. Okay. But they'll import the expedition. But this Braben Spiral, this has been going on since February of 25, and they're going through 27. mean, they've been out there, and they've got 44 registered people. Looks like a group of Russians, so can't knock them for their tenacity, that's for sure. I love that these are up here, because you can still go back and see the waypoint listings. Why aren't you loading? Hell with it. I've made my point. You can go back and see what the waypoints were, so if you ever want to do like a self-guided tour, it's still a lot of fun. What am I doing? Apparently, just super cruising through a system I've already scanned. It's no wonder I've only made it through 90 of these systems. I'm such a... I'm having a squirrel kind of evening, that's for sure. It's been rough to keep my attention where it belongs. Why did it say next waypoint? So, oh, EDSM was telling. I didn't realize it did that. 90 systems into this voxel search, and it tells me it's copied the next system. Sometimes I really feel like I'm not all that aware. Why are you not in streamer mode? Is the real question. I know I dismissed it. Oh, because I haven't closed and reopened, whatchamacallit. OBS. I just left it open from the last time I streamed. Probably not the best thing for my PC.
Frameshift drive charging.
Let's see what number 92 has to offer. I still want to know what system I missed, because I've only full scanned 90 of 91, and it's bugging me. I think it was one of the first couple. So I may, when I get to the end, go back and like redo the first 10 and see if I can pick up that one missing system, because that'll bug the shit out of me to know that I went through a whole voxel and failed to scan a system. That's just sloppy work. And I realize that I'm technically a government employee, and, you know, there's a acceptable margin that is lower for government work than most people would consider really realistic. But personally, I try to be a little more accountable. Just, you know, just a little. Not a lot. Just a little. I really kind of wish that this expedition wasn't so impersonal, because I've heard a lot of people talk very fondly of DW2 and DW1. So I kind of came into the expedition with a slightly different expectation of what it was going to be like. And then got into it and realized from talking to even more people that this is pretty par for the course, and I'm not sure why I expected any differently. I mean, there were, what, 13,000 commanders on DW2? It's pretty hard to have any kind of meaningful small group anything in that. Unless you go in with your own group, like me, Delta, Tranquila, Captain Jack. I think we got one or two others. Mobius Ace. He's kind of from our Discord group. So there's maybe 6 to 10 of us out here, all said and done. But reliably, I only ever meet up and talk with Trank, Delta, Arcanic on that one occasion, Mars on that same occasion. And it's not that, you know, we wouldn't love to, it's just it takes more planning because the way it's all spread out, and it was much easier to do. It was pretty common to bump into somebody hanging out around a carrier on Apollo 14. And of course, we were also all in open. That made a huge difference. I'm in the FleetCom group, but I'm not in it right now. I mean, I'm nowhere near Distant Worlds 3 at the moment. So I'm in the Delta private group, but... And if anybody out there doesn't have a private group, or isn't, you know, doesn't have a home somewhere, by all means come join us. There's the Discord I hang out in, which is actually Delta's Discord. He's another streamer here. You should check him out also. He does Elite and other things. He does No Man's Sky and Apex and a smattering of other things on occasion. And if anybody needs a squadron, we are always accepting folks if you're looking for a home. It's nothing high pressure. It's literally just a name tag we all wear together and have a good time. We do try to do community nights like once or twice a week. We try to kind of spread those out so that our EU friends can get on the action, stuff like that. But it's not, again, it's not a you have to be there or you're expected to be there. It's literally just a spot on the calendar where people can show up if they want to, and if more than one person shows up, now you're having a little bit of a party, you know? And we kind of rotate, you know. This month we've been doing a lot of colonization because we're setting up a new colony out in Sinew FA, about 1,000 light years out from the bubble. But we also do mining and combat. There's talk recently of maybe going bug hunting, because a lot of people have never done it. I've never gone and done anything with AX combat. When I was just getting my teeth into the game for real, would have been, what, Christmas of 24, I think? What is it? It's 26. Yeah, that sounds about right. They were just wrapping up the Thargoid War. You know, they were killing Casijo, and that kind of story arc was coming to an end, and I didn't really... at the time, I didn't know enough to participate, and I didn't have a ship put together, so I didn't even try. I mean, in retrospect, I could have bought the Jumpstart AX Chieftain, I guess, which I hear is okay for it. But, you know, we try to do stuff like that, help new players out, make sure they get an opportunity to make money. Not, you know, giving away money and stuff like that. We certainly aren't forcing it down anybody's throats, but we do try to set activities up, you know, in such a way that they can make a little money. If we're doing colony materials, you know, we'll buy at a little bit of a premium, sell at a little bit of a loss, because most of us are established with our billions, and we don't need the money, that kind of thing. But again, not, you know, not selling for a song so that they're making a huge profit, but enough that makes it worth your time if you want to come participate, that sort of thing. Hey, there's another crystalline shards. Where was that? That was 7A. Gotta go check that out. Still looking for that polonium. I'm not convinced it's here, because out of the, like, 8 crystalline shards I found, none of them have been polonium. The first time I found one was up in the abyss, and it had polonium. And all the ones since then have been some other material. So I've pretty much filled up on everything else. Trying to remember. There is one material. We saw it on stream, I found it. Hey, there's a water giant. I want to check that out too. So that's water giant number 3 for this voxel. And now I feel like I should be keeping my eyes open a little more. There might be more interesting stuff in here. I feel like sometimes I get complacent, a little bit of tunnel vision, and then I'll run into something, you know, as soon as I slow down, I realize I'm skipping right over a bunch of cool stuff. Is that ammonia-based life? Water. I wonder what it is with the low ammonia content. I wonder if that's a standard feature of a helium-rich voxel, or if it's just this one. I mean, I suppose if it's helium-rich, it's got to displace something. Might as well be ammonia. I would think hydrogen would be what it would displace, though. Consistently. But then again, I have found the 3 ammonia worlds. I just don't seem to be finding... You know, the gas giants with ammonia-based life, I found 2. With water-based life, 42. Quite the disparity. I'm used to certainly seeing more water-based life than ammonia, but I feel like it's usually more even than that as far as just, you know, padding through the galaxy running into shit. I feel like it seems to be more even than that. Might be talking clean out of my ass there, but you never know. Another water-based life. Lousy with them. Absolutely lousy. Low nitrogen and phosphorus available. Biologically, that would make sense. I guess for me, it's always a matter of how well they modeled something. Because I can usually come up with a reason for something. But then I immediately move to... Because, you know, 9 times out of 10, if you're trying to put logic and real mechanics on a video game, it just... There's another crystalline shards. It doesn't usually follow over, and Elite's such an outlier in that regard, because they've modeled so many things so well. So I guess my first inclination is to look for a more game developer friendly explanation for why something is the way it is. But in the case of Elite, that may be exactly why and how that works. It's hard to say. Yeah, that's kind of it, Captain. They've done such a good job that when they forget something, you don't necessarily notice. I mean, some of the big things, accretion disks and stuff like that. But at the same time, our understanding of that as a real world scientific community has evolved quite a bit since this game was first put together. And what seemed more an outlier is now understood to be, you know, more commonplace. So some of those things I get, but it does so much so well. You're right, it's you don't notice as much when it's something that's missing. Stop the presses. I realize there's crystalline shards out there and that's what I've got targeted, but I also very much wanted to see that water giant. And I should have been paying better attention, because now I don't know which one it was. And I haven't seen enough of them to visually identify it. I'm going to assume it's this one, actually. Of course, I've been wrong before. That's the water giant. Okay, so it's in the same grain. That's what I want. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't in the in the primary orbit. Because if it was, there's no sense in flying all the way down there. Just have to turn around and do 60,000 light seconds back again. Yeah, the physics model in this game is outstanding. I've done several space games and several flight games, and nothing feels quite as good as flying in this game in VR with a stick. That just... it feels viscerally correct, which I imagine was a tough one to nail down. But I very much appreciate the level of effort they went to. Come on, bleed off the speed. I would prefer to scan the planet, not crash into it. Guess I could have got way closer to that gas giant. Oh, did you see that? That's a planetoid. Even as moons go, that was, from what I just saw flying by, that thing was janky. Let's get in close here and take a look. That didn't quite look spherical. Of course, it's going to be harder to see on the non-lit side. Let's just go ahead and step around to the backyard. The elite dreams do abound. Yeah, there's flat spots on that. That's not quite a sphere. Pretty good size, though. It's a 6 probe. Seems to me I find a lot of the planetoids that aren't fully formed yet are actually kind of small. Hey, thanks for hanging out, Ghost. We'll catch you next time, bud. Appreciate you coming over and showing some love.
Surface scan complete.
Alrighty. Maybe this will be the polonium farm I seek.
Orbital flight engaged.
Yeah, we've been having a good old elite community evening tonight between Arcane Extreme and mine. Honestly, I might start delaying my weekday streams a little bit if it's going to overlap on one of your days, just so I get a chance to watch yours, and then when you wrap up, you can pop over if you want. Because doubling up is hard. That's why I don't do Mondays and Wednesdays. Because those are days Delta streaming, and I don't want to, you know, overlap and not be able to participate in his, because that's a lot of fun. It also just occurred to me, I do have a weapon on this ship. So I may not even need to launch the fighter here. I've already tried mining this the remote flak way. It does not work, for anyone wondering that missed the stream. I was fairly upset about that. What did I do wrong here? Oh. Been out in the black so long, I forgot you have to deploy these things. Woo! Absolutely, Captain. You should definitely stream when you get back in. No, dude, don't do that. Stay out of that suppression cross. That is a trap. I'm sure we broke something loose there. Let's see if I can get down here and target it. That'll be the question. Here's one right there. It's not gonna let me target it. Son of a bitch. Alright, fine. At least they did vastly improve the landing profile on this.
Landing gear deployed.
Was it you that was asking about that Arcanic? Somebody I watch, I've been having regular check-ins with. The Caspian does land much better than it used to. Can verify. And it's not just like finding a spot when you actually land now, it lets you land. Instead of being like, ooh, I know you're touching the ground, but we're not gonna land. You know how it used to really play up. It doesn't seem to do that anymore. You know, if Raxla's there, I'm gonna be really sad, because I'm gonna have to go scan suppression cross systems, and that sounds god-awful.
Warning.
But you should absolutely stream. It's a ton of fun. I mean, I know I'm not going to make a big enough channel here to quit carrying mail for a living by any means, but it's just a fun way to interact with the community. And if you're not camera shy or you don't mind, you know, talking a lot, that's the part I struggle with sometimes. Well, it's not polonium, but it is something I need. Gonna go check the other one and see if it's a different material. I don't have high hopes for that, because I know a lot of times, especially with biologics, and I know crystalline shards aren't really a biologic, but they are. But they tend to generate in groups. Like if you have 3 rocky bodies and they're all around the same star, it's not uncommon for them all to be identical biologics. So we'll check the other one, but I doubt it. It's not that I dislike hearing myself talk. I am also... Well, I'm kind of a talker. I talk enough that I can manage to stream, but sometimes I just run out of things to say, and I don't want to sit here with dead air, you know, that's not ideal entertainment. For most folks, anyways. I guess somebody out there might enjoy it. Planet am I on? I'm on 9... That's not a planet, that's a system. Let's do this. B7A, okay. The other one was B2A. So that one should have shards. The rest are just run-of-the-mill bios, nothing of high value. Not that I need the money. I do need to transfer money, and I need to do that while I'm thinking about it. Because as much as I enjoy the roleplay on my alt account, she does need to buy a Caspian for ratting, and I'm not going to grind that out. That's million, right? Yeah, that's million. I assume 400 million will cover my ratting ships. Okay, there we go. That is such an awesome feature of Squadrons, I gotta tell you. My face is probably entertainment. I won't even argue that.
Cannot comply.
Oh, yeah.
Gear retracted.
Landing gear helps. I do sometimes. I've put up like no mic, no cam, just ASMR streams where I just turned the Elite's music on and let it ride, and sat here for like 2.5 hours just doing what I'm doing right now, just exploring, doing bio. It was my most watched stream. I had at one time like 80 viewers, just watching me fly through the universe of Elite Dangerous. It was the weirdest thing. And I mean, I get it, because I watch it. I'll put something like that on to go to sleep, or sometimes while I'm walking mail, I'll put on something like that, a console player that's streaming no mic or something, just to hear the sounds of Elite, because I enjoy the sounds. But it still blew my mind when I was the one streaming that I had 80-some people just sitting there watching me or listening or whatever they were doing, enjoying the ambiance of Elite. Yeah, that's true. I was watching a console player earlier. I struggle to watch them. Like I started watching one channel that's primarily a console player, and I can watch as long as I don't interact. And I get it. A lot of console players are really salty because Frontier did them dirty. I'm not even gonna lie, they did do them dirty. But my god, if you go talk to a console player that is still playing Elite on console and hasn't moved to PC, the only thing they do is bitch about how dirty they were done. And I get it, but man, that's such a turnoff. Console peasants. Sir, we are part of the PC master race, I don't know what to tell you. And that's the funny part, right? Like, I've watched this chick play other games on PC. She streams games on PC. Like, why hasn't she migrated her Elite account? You can play Elite on a potato if you're willing to sacrifice things. I played it on a $150 laptop for 2 months. It was an awful experience by comparison, but you know what? I got my fix. It did let me play. I was able to explore. Landing on planets was kind of dodgy. But, she's a console player. She can't land on planets anyways right now, so she wouldn't even notice that. But it was just a big turnoff to go in and say, hey, how you enjoying it? I like the Diamondback, and then just to get back just this wall of text bitching about the fact that they don't get regular updates anymore. I'm just like, woof. Get it together. And leave me out of it.
Surface scanned at 50%. Surface scan.
Ooh, we got geology here, too. Not super interested. I really just want to find an easy set of crystal shards with polonium. That would be nice.
Orbital flight engaged.
I could spend some time mining that up this week before I move on out of here and have a full stack. Yeah, I've been... My first PC game was in 1993. Or 94. And I say PC game, when I say that I mean like proper Windows 95 game. I played some DOS-based games like Lode Runner and stuff, or Solitaire, but I distinctly remember Oregon Trail and Yukon Trail. Oregon Trail was Oregon Trail 3, and it was wild because that took up 3 CD-ROMs, which I just can't even wrap my head around. Oh, we got a rat call. What we got? Oh, I might actually need to take that. Oh, fuck, it's 11:30. I'll do that. No. They've got to be part of DW3. It's 49,700 light years from Sol. That sounds very DW3-ish. But I'm going to plot it just in case. God forbid I'm the closest person. I know that doesn't sound very charitable, but in my heart, I would very much like to go help somebody if they need it. And in reality, I know I've got to work tomorrow. And this is not going to be a short set of jumps. That is... Flow. Who came up with these sector names, I swear? E-T, D3-2. Well, that's a good sign. At least it's in Spanish. 1 ton of cargo. Or 2 tons, because I think I gotta limp it. If not, I can eject them. 14 tons reserve fuel. What's that leave me? DOS games were so good. I can't say I experienced a TRS 80. I can't say I experienced any tape deck system, like zip drives and stuff. That wasn't really... Well, zip drives kind of were. Like, SCSI linked stuff wasn't really in anymore. I was, knee-high to a grasshopper. I was about 5 years old at that time. In 94. I was born in 89, so... But I didn't really grow into PC gaming strong until... It had to be around 2000, because I remember playing an awful lot of games on a Windows ME machine. Which I know sounds awful, because Windows ME, retrospectively, was awful. But I didn't mind it all that much. Has nobody prepped this client? Nobody has prepped that client. Don't remember. Where's the thing? Where's the thing? Is it how-to articles? No, it's not how-to. SOP. Standard dispatch. What is it? Just show me the fucking command. Sorry, give me just a minute here. There we go. Oh, that's simple. Wrap and case number. Case 1. Alright, did Spanch figure this out? How far? Ooh! 131 jumps. Somebody else is going to have to handle that. I don't have 3 hours. TIE Fighter. I wasn't doing that. Back in those days, actually, I flew much less of what I'm doing now. I did a lot of RTSs. So, StarCraft, Warcraft 3. I played a lot of Caesar 3. It was a city builder, if you weren't familiar. Not dissimilar from something like... There's literally nobody on dispatch. Hang on, I'm trying to keep this guy squared up here. Did everybody go to bed? Where are the Europeans? You can't make this up. I can't go get this guy. I don't have the time. I would love to, but there's literally, there's nobody to dispatch. There's nobody to rat. Because any drilled rat can dispatch. and I put out the call for a dispatcher, and it's just crickets over there. Well, unfortunately, we don't have a ton of rats in Australia, Captain. Realistically, we've got some late. Like right now, it should be Western U.S. Western U.S. should be up and about. So I know some of these guys that I regularly talk to are awake. Where are they at? After that, because we have a couple of like Pacific Islanders, but they're not super active as I understand it. West Coast should definitely be up. I don't know where the hell everybody's at. I mean, I was going to call it there anyways, if I'm perfectly honest for the stream. My goal is to be in bed by midnight every day this week, since I'm going to be working long, unscrupulous hours. So we'll probably call it there. I'm going to land on this planet and check these crystalline shards first, though. Keep an eye on the rat chat down there. I'm not gonna go get this guy. I can tell you right now, I'm not staying awake 3 hours. If I have to wait 3 hours, I'll just start jumping towards him. But I know we've got a rat. Danny, thank God. We got us a dispatcher. And maybe a rat. Actually, I think his main's in the bubble right now. I'm gonna let him know what the jumps are, but I don't have the time. Case 1. 31 jumps. No, I'm not even gonna call it. If I call it, I almost feel obligated. And there comes a PlayStation case. Well, the PlayStation case is at least moving smoothly. Oh boy. Telling you, the rat life is fun, guys. If you ever get to a point playing Elite where you're just not sure what you want to do anymore, join the rats. Even if you don't do it all the time.
No gravity warning.
It certainly gives you all kinds of new content that you didn't know was there.
Ship dismissed.
No, 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 that's not what I wanted to do. Damn it. where I hate Xbox controller. Oh, come on. This is the part I dislike about mining shards. There's always something in the freaking way. Well, I targeted just long enough to not see what it was. Yttrium. Again, yep. So that theory seems to be holding water, more or less. I guess it does more or less get treated like a biologic then, because I know all other things being equal, if you have a planet with, say, 3 bios, and you have 3 other planets of the same type that also have 3 biosignals, they're pretty much always going to be identical for those 3 planets, because they all met the same criteria. So I guess that's how crystalline shards are handled too. I'm not sure what they qualify as, because if you look at them in BioInsights, it lists them as, like, instead of a color variant, it lists horizons. Because I guess it's... Oh, okay. I forgot you could hover over it and get more information. So that is just the way it's handling a Horizons era thing. That makes sense. But I assume it follows the same kind of criteria where everything... Yeah, I do the turret view thing sometimes. I just, honestly, until I'm annoyed that I can't target something because of, you know, depression, that's when I remember, oh yeah, I need to be in turret mode. But we got it knocked out. But we are going to have to call it there. I do need to get to bed fairly soon. What is today? Today's Tuesday. It's Sunday. So the next stream will be Sunday. I'll try to schedule it out in enough time that people can catch it, but I would expect that to be like a late afternoon, earlier in the evening stream, just so I can do a longer time frame. I know usually I do about 3 hours. I would prefer to like walk it back so that I'm not running until midnight my time. That's rapidly not going to work, working this much overtime. I could probably swing 10:30, 11, 2 and 5 on Sunday. I'll be around. Appreciate everybody hanging out, as always. You know, hit the like button on the way out. Subscribe if you want to see more of that kind of thing. All that YouTube stuff. And we'll see you next time. Hopefully we'll know a little bit more and find some helium gas giants. But till next time, see you later.